Good day to everybody. It's your boy Chatsky hanging out on this beautiful day and doing some more content for you. Why not? You guys know me. If you like the channel, throw a like on the video and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Get your update on just about daily content that we're going to do all the time. And I started this channel about 3 weeks ago. We've already got a massive amount of traction with it. A lot of people jumping in. A lot of people know me in the community. They know I've been around, and they know me from various different streams and things like that. But I started doing videos just because I'm kind of an outside-the-box thinker. I've got different takes on different things. And so if you like the channel, be sure to subscribe. The Discord link is in the description, okay? My Discord is popping off. I've got over 1,600 people on there. We literally started that thing like 15, 16 days ago, okay? And so that's where people can go get their questions answered for certain things within the game, combinations, pairings, and that is what we always like to do, whether it's in the Discord with all the great people I've got there giving advice or on this channel. I want to give the real rock life application and experience and what it means. Okay, I don't just want to tell you attributes. I don't want just want to tell you, hey, this means this, or read off patch notes for you. I'm going to actually show you and tell you what the combinations are for certain aspects and certain topics. And with this particular one, we're going to talk infantry garrisons. Infantry, still the king of garrisons. Okay, that's with CY being in the game now. So our boy down here that just got released, he's really, really good. He's really good, and he's really good to use. He's really good as an upgrade from Dido. And you use him with Hera. You can run some mixed troops with him. He doesn't have an exclusive skill that doesn't let you run mixed troops. So he is really, really good. However, there's deficiencies there, and we're getting into the rock, paper, scissors. We're getting into some of the different things now because Cavs will mess him up. Okay, a Justinian Nevsky rally that's busted good with field control will blast this dude. Okay, so we definitely have rock, paper, scissors. Basically means you have counters to everything, but still to this day, the infantries are still ruling, guys. I mean, they just are. And I've been running infantry garrisons for a long time. Let's see. This is kind of some of my gear. I also have a critted horn I put on there. So level 5, everything. I mean, I can do all that stuff when it comes to the gear. My armaments, as people know, with Arch are kind of busted. I can run whatever you want with cavalry or infantry. Probably take off the destructive now that we know that that's a little bit of a deficient armament, but or a little bit of a deficient inscription. But you get the point. I've run all kinds of infantry garrisons. I've run all kinds of infantry rallies. And so I'm going to give you all that information today, and we'll go through it. And like I said, infantry's still kind of the king. And part of the reason why is because of the troop type. A lot of players on the big spectrum of rock community. A lot of players have more infantry than any other troop type. And a lot of that is because, in the early game, when you're building an account, they give you more infantry commanders in K1. And they give you more infantry gear when it comes to the KVK shop and Shio's Return and some of the other gear that's legendary blueprints that they give you is for infantry. And so that's kind of the starting out, troop type people like. And so inherently, people just have more of them. Okay, and infantry also does a really good job with the commanders to where they really help some mixed garrisons. And so we'll go through all that, okay? So with that being said, if you like the channel, again, subscribe, throw a thumbs up on the video if you like it. Join our Discord. The Discord link is in the description. We get into all these conversations and have a great time with it. So I'll put up my tier window here. And then I'll also put up kind of my text window here. Best infantry garrisons, okay? So let's talk about this real quick. And let's identify. This is straight up best infantry garrisons versus rallies, okay? That's what we will say up here. Down here, we're going to say versus the swarms, okay? Whoop. So we'll get this right so everybody understands. Okay, versus the rallies. Straight up, and you can kind of split hairs a little bit here, but against rallies, okay? There's a couple of different ways you can look at this, but just pure infantry, okay? You're going to have, let me put that down. You're going to have a Gorgo Constantine situation that's against skill damage rallies, okay? I'm going to go ahead and say prerequisite. Skill damage. Against skill damage rallies, that's what works the best. And then from here, we're going to say versus smite damage, okay? And versus smite damage rallies, okay, when you get into this, some of the different things that you can do really, really work out well. So against smite damage rallies, obviously you're going to have well-routed materials here. You're going to have versus skill damage rallies. That's the combination you want to go with. This one's also a good one. Versus smite damage, you want to stick with like a Gorgo Hera, or you can even stick with like a Xeno Gorgo here if you want to. If you have Xeno Gorgo, you can still run that. So those are kind of the best combinations, okay? Versus the swarms. Versus swarms, okay, it's going to be real simple. We're going to put this, if you can sneak a Gorgo Martel in versus storms, that is really good, okay? And you're seeing the you know, commonality with all these, and that's Gorgo. Gorgo is really such a great investment, even to this day. We're getting into our 10th generation of commanders, and they're probably going to come out with infantry garrison. Well, that's what we all suspect. And if they do, it's going to be a smite garrison that you put with Gorgo, and it might just be broken. You never know how that's gonna play out. So against the swarms, Gorgo Martel is off the charts. Also, Gorgo Hera is really good, and then you even got Xeno Gorgo that's really good against the swarms. So there's all kinds of different ways to run that, but far and away the best one is Gorgo. Again, Gorgo with Martel. You sneak that in there and you pummel swarmers. You absolutely pummel, and it doesn't do too bad against the rallies, okay? Now, I'll say this. If you're going to say, we want a skill damage garrison, okay? Your skill damage garrison, this is what's interesting, and I saw a guy run this. His name's Algebro, okay? He was in a kingdom that we were fighting a couple of KVKs ago, and this dude ran a Gorgo Flavius, okay? This is in a fort. Oop. This was in a fort or a pass, okay? This dude ran this thing, and he had this is also for if you have a phenomenal wedge set on your infantry with skill damage. This particular combination in a fort or a pass did absolutely insane. Absolutely, it's just too many troops, too much damage. Flavius is really good in forts and passes. And considering that he's really good, we have him up here as a good skill damage commander for garrisons in forts and passes. You don't like to run this too much in flags, especially in high-end KVKs, because you're going to get those absolutely melted. Okay, but these are the worst types, or these are the best types of garrisons to run against certain situations. Against skill damage, you love Constantine. Constantine's expertise, after he fires off that big heal, he's going to drastically drop down the skill damage taken. You literally nerf so much of the skill damage you're getting. Okay, and also against skill damage, obviously Gorgo Hera is pretty good overall. Against smite, Gorgo Hera is one of the best. Okay, Xeno Gorgo is even a good play with an arch set against some of the smite stuff. Also against swarms, Gorgo Martel, the absolute best. If you are taking a rally and you've got like a Gorgo Hera in there, and they start swarming it, and you want to do max damage, like punishment, especially like a fort, you go slide in a Gorgo Martel and you rank that thing up, it kicks out so much freaking damage, okay? There's all kinds of different ways. Martel's got the all damage boost. Gorgo's got the normal damage boost. It is crazy, and it doesn't do too bad against the swarms. It really doesn't. Okay, so those are kind of your different types of layouts on how you want to do things. It makes the game a lot of fun because you can try a lot of different combinations. And depending on what they're rallying you with, you can do the best you can against the certain types of rallies you've got. Some people say, well, smite damage, against a smite damage rally, you know, from this standpoint, why would you have Hera? And I'm like, why would I have Hera? I mean, let's look in game, shall we? This is against smite damage. You always want Hera as much as you can in your garrison. Now, sometimes if you're overpowered or don't have Hera, that's okay. You can try to figure out something else. But this thing right here, when you have 3 different troop types, you're basically taking 30% less normal damage. Okay, against a CPO Emilius and William Wallace, or a CPO Emilius with Luce, that's basically 30% less damage. Okay, because normal damage here, it affects basic attack, counterattack, smite, and combo attack. Okay, normal damage mitigation is massive against smite rallies. That's just how it works, and that's why Hera has so much value when it comes to that. Okay, so we've got all this, and I think it's really, really good to kind of play along with and figure out what works best. And then the best overall, we're just going to do one more of these things, and we're going to put, let's see, I'm going to add one more of these. We're going to put that right here. Best overall, you can't go wrong. You can run multiple troop types, is Gorgo Hera. Okay? It does well against rallies. It does great against smite rallies. Okay? It does well against swarms. Okay? And honestly, it can really do well in just about any situation on the infantry side that you put it in. Okay? So take a picture. That's kind of my suggestions on what to run against certain rallies, against swarms. If you want to go skill damage and you're going to put a fort in a pass and you're going high damage, you can run the Gorgo Flav. Now you can run that with Wedge. It doesn't hurt Gorgo at all. She doesn't do any skill damage, and if you're enhancing skill damage, but Flav still has it, and Flav still has massive damage that he does. Okay, so let's go ahead and put everybody down here. And now we're going to talk about what you want to run in artifact KVKs as an infantry player. Okay, as an infantry player, and we might have to grab a couple of these. Okay, so now we're going to get into the best infantry garrisons with an artifact. Okay, artifact KVKs are Warriors Unbounds. There's Tides. There's Storm of Stratagems. There's multiple KVKs that give you an artifact. An artifact basically means you can put that on any commander. You can take an infantry artifact and you can put it on any cavalry or archer commander, and you can make them an infantry commander. Okay, it's great. We found this out about 10 months ago, okay, and it became the trend all over Rock because it's so good. But against a rally, Gorgo, Attila, still the best, okay, and it's the best infantry garrison, period. Regardless artifact or not, okay? It is the best infantry garrison, period. It's the best in the artifact, but you can't run it if you're not an artifact KVK. However, anything else, this is just the best infantry garrison you can get all around. It's amazing. It's great against smite. It's great against rally with skill damage. It's great against swarms. It's great against just about everything, okay? So if you're using Gorgo and Attila, so many synergies there. Attila's got max all damage, a lot of normal damage boosts and triggers and procs. Gorgo, obviously normal damage, big smite. So this is a normal damage situation that's just maxing it out, okay? This is the garrison to run if you're running infantry in an artifact KVK, okay? If you're ever running against a swarm, all right, this isn't a bad one to run against the swarm, okay? However, the ultimate swarm, anti-swarm garrison in the game is Martel with Attila. Oh my God. You guys want to see massive white numbers? Holy jeez. Listen, we do this all the time. We know we're in Kingsland. We're on a flag. It's going to get pummeled. It's going to get swarmed. I mean, it is all hell's breaking loose. We'll start when the rally hits with a Gorgo Attila. When they start swarming, we get somebody to gear up their Martel, and we sneak in a Martel Attila, and holy geez, boys. I mean, get ready for some white. Now, you will routine on a flag, you will routinely run the white numbers on the swarm up to 20, 25,000 every second. No problem. Okay, it is insane. In a fort, oh my God. I mean, it's instant death. Okay, so this is such a great anti-swarm. It's the best anti-swarm garrison in the entire game. If you're in an artifact KVK and you can run this against a swarm, it's GG over. Okay, just too many synergies. Okay, Martel's way too tanky, kicks out so much counterattack, has the all damage boost coming from his active skill. It's out of control. And then you just add Attila. Holy cow. Gorgo Attila is also pretty good when it comes to that kind of KVK, and that works out really, really well. Okay, from there, here's the kicker. If you're an infantry main, all right, and you have great gear, especially if you have wedge gear, okay, because a lot of people still have a lot of great infantry wedge gear, even though it's more smite now the commanders were getting. But if you're in a high capacity garrison of a fort or a pass, that's 3 million troops, And you can't, especially in a pass where it can't be swarmed, or in a fort to where they don't want to mess with it, they don't want to swarm it, they're just going to run rallies. Okay, this right here is the greatest all damage, skill damage garrison you could run. Flavius with Eleanor. You run Flavius with Eleanor, guys, it is all, it's just too much damage. I mean, let's go look at it. Holy cow, too much, way too much damage. And Flavius has always been known as a good garrison against the rally. Tons of damage, 2,300. Okay, he does all kinds of stuff when it comes to additional damage. I mean, he does crazy stuff. He does have some counterattack bonuses. He does do these stacks that do all kinds of crazy things. I mean, he has got some crazy, crazy damage he kicks out, especially to a rally specific. Well, what does she do? Eleanor, crazy damage, crazy damage. And along with that, she's got a chance to proc that crazy damage again. That's kind of her trigger chance of 10% to hit the Lily of the Wilds. Bro, you let this thing fire off, you let Flav, I mean, they're just going back and forth, just laying down crazy skill damage numbers. It is just the most damage you can get, really, of any garrison when it comes to in a fort or a pass. I mean, it is just crazy. It can be swarmed, so if you're in a fort and you're going up against super high Imperium kingdoms or really high A-seeds that swarm all the time, they'll go swarm this. Like, I'll swarm this if I see it. However, if they don't swarm it, it is so hard to do enough damage to combat how much damage this garrison does to you. It's so hard. It is really, really hard. Okay, so with that being said, you've got kind of this setup here that works out really, really well. Let me go add another one of these Gorgo Attilas, and overall, this is the one you want to run. Okay, it's good against swarms. It's great against skill damage and smite damage rallies on flags, and honestly, it's pretty good here too. Okay, but overall, the Attila Gorgo is the best artifact KVK garrison you could ever run. So I highly recommend that. Okay, so now let's pull everything down here, and we're gonna talk about you early game guys, right? Okay, so let's see what we got here, and let's change up the text a little bit. We're gonna say K1 and K2. Okay, so if you're in K1 and K2, these are the best infantry garrisons you can run. Okay, first and foremost, against a skill damage rally. All right, we're going to say against a skill damage rally, Constantine Martel, the best garrison you could run. Constantine does so much skill damage mitigation after he heals. That's going to happen very, very fast. And it just works really, really well against skill damage rallies that you take, like a YSG rally or any kind of, Edward Tommy rally. This is probably going to do the best that you can. Okay, so as far as infantry goes. So from there is no smite damage in early game. Okay, well, we're going to say no smite here, no smite damage. Against the swarms, it is also really, really good to run this. But one thing we've got to consider is that when you run Martel YSG, this is really, really good because people in the early game just don't know. Martel YSG is great, and it's okay against skill damage rallies, okay? But the reason why you run Martel with YSG is so you can get that area of effect damage, because people are walking by the flags all the time. They don't know any different, and people are trying to reinforce the rally. YSG really helps in that situation. So that's the other garrison that is relatively good to run in K1 and K2. And those are basically the two types of garrisons you want to run. And in a fort or a pass, that's what you want to run here with Martel and YSG. Let me just put up another Martel YSG, shall we? So we'll have these things up everywhere. That's what I would say is better to run in a fort or a pass, just because there's so many troops, you do so much AoE, and it's harder to swarm those things. You can't swarm a pass. And in the fort, you've got too many players in K1 and K2 that have such a hard time trying to swarm anything. I don't want to lose troops. I wouldn't want to lose troops either. I mean, so that's one of the things that you have to consider when you're in a garrison of a fort or a pass, okay? So we'll just set up that. And then I think overall, as an infantry player, you're looking at having the Martel, the Constantine Martel. That's probably your best overall situation. And honestly, it's not It's one of the best garrisons you can do. Anybody that's got really good gear, this runs really well. But this is pretty much exclusively what you run on. You don't want to run Richard in a garrison. Okay, the healing absolutely runs up the Sevs. You want to run Martel and Constantine. Okay. So that kind of gives you everything that you need to see as far as what the different garrisons are. You can revert back to the video. I'll have it chaptered out for you. You can skip ahead to whatever you want to kind of take a look at how these garrisons are formed. And infantry garrisons, guys, still to this day, they are the kings. They still run it. And they still run exceptionally well. That's due to the fact that they can run with multiple troop types. There's all kinds of reasons why, but this girl right here just doesn't. And guess what? As good as infantry is, okay, and I'm not saying in certain situations it's not good to run infantry, okay? Certain things are going to beat up infantry pretty good. However, overall, with the fact that most people have a lot of infantry, most kingdoms have a lot of infantry, it's just tried and true. Infantry, garrison, you can run multiple troop types, run it with Hera, and do all those things. Infantry really, really does well, even to this day. And when that new infantry garrison commander comes out, look out. It's coming. And when it comes out, it's going to be wild. And if they do smite, it's going to be even crazier. Everybody's loading up their arch stuff for infantry. Everybody. Everybody wants to load this up for infantry. Everybody's trying to get these special inscriptions to load up for infantry. So if they bring out another infantry garrison and 10th generation commanders coming out this spring, then look out, because infantry is going to be busted once again. If you guys like the video, throw a thumbs up on it, subscribe to the channel, hang out with us. We got all kinds of content coming your way. We'll do infantry rallies next, so stay tuned for that, and join my Discord. The link is in the description. And with all that being said, come hang out with us. Give us the feedback. I love feedback. I love interacting with everybody. I want to help make everybody better. And with that, I'll leave you to it. Thanks so much, broskies.